Welcome everybody. Nice to see you all here. If we can make a start on tonight's meeting, and if we could start please with Steve, if you could give us any apologies that you've received.
Yeah, we've had apologies from Pam Erasmus and Gareth Ford, and I understand Rebecca may or may not be able to join us.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Have we got any declarations of interest? No, good. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Is everybody happy with those?
Yes, thank you.
Yep, okay, jolly good. And then we've got the action points. So Steve, do you want to just quickly go through the action points?
Yeah, certainly. I'll just share those with you, and then you can all see them. Can everyone see that okay?
Yep, that's lovely, thanks.
Okay, so the first one is Jasmine with the foxgloves.
Yeah, I've sent that off. So that should be appearing on the website very soon.
Oh, fab. Thanks, Jasmine.
Again, Jasmine, read the tree planting.
Yeah, so I've contacted the Swansea gardens department, and I've left a message with them to call me back about their availability for meetings. And then I've also contacted Mark Barber to see if he'd be interested in attending the meeting on tree planting. But yeah, so I can let Carrie and Sarah know when I have the dates that they're available for those.
Jolly good. I think I'm sure we had a name of a tree officer, but I can't for the life of me remember who it was. Can you remember, Steve?
Not offhand, but I'm
no.
These days.
I can look into that though and see if I can find them to contact as well.
Might be worth sort of contacting them directly as well as the parks department generally.
There's one I know. His name is Martin Bignell.
That's the man.
Is he?
Yeah,
that's the one
exactly
I was thinking
the one I was
yes.
looking for. Yeah.
There's somebody
brilliant.
him, but he's the man with the knowledge and the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant.
It's good to have knowledge if you have a chainsaw, I feel.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah. The third one is my responsibility this meeting, and there's I can testify getting through to Parks is difficult. I finally got hold of Paul Griffiths, who is now in charge of that area, who we used to know from cleansing. So he's sending us some dates
brilliant
that we can look at. So that's at least making progress.
Great, lovely, thanks.
Jasmine on the wooden bodyboards. I think last time you were waiting for people to get back to you.
Yeah. So I had a long phone meeting with one of the people that runs Plastic Free Torage, and he was one of the ones that was running the bodyboard thing in there. So I have a whole bunch of different notes on sort of how they did it, the order they did things in, and sort of advice on how things could go. And yeah, so I have that. Do you want me to go over any of that now, or is that sort of
well, I think we decided, just because obviously we weren't sure whether you'd been able to get anything, so we've left it off this month's agenda. We thought we could then get your report when you've got all the information and everything for the September meeting.
Yes, yeah, I'll prepare that.
Okay, and then I know you've done the Mumbles in Bloom guide. Did you get it to the schools before they up, or did you think it was better to leave it till the September now?
Yeah, so this was the one where it was agreed that they're not gonna do this year's Mumbles in Bloom. Schools are gonna enter for next year's. Oh wait, sorry, I was reading the wrong thing.
Yeah, There's a planting
Yeah,
for
sorry.
schools and Mumbles in Bloom. They're actually two different.
I meant to say the planting for schools guide, because I know that was all.
Yes, yeah. So I haven't sent that to schools yet because I think waiting till September probably makes sense. But I can send it in August and then it'll be waiting in their inbox.
I would wait until term starts,
Yeah,
because otherwise, you know, it might be the sort of bottom of a very long line of stuff they're trying to catch up with. Whereas if you do it at the beginning of term, then, you know, it'll probably get picked up more quickly by the schools.
Yeah, great. I will do that. And then, the Mums in Bloom guide has been published on the website and the social media.
Okay. I've asked Pip to look into the sponsorship.
Yeah.
And he was just asking for a few more details of what the committee wanted. So,
okay. Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Chair. Are you having a meeting in before the 14th of September meeting?
Yes, we will, won't we? We'll have one at the beginning of September. So
yeah. Why I was asking is just that, you know, we can put that on there then, and
yeah, good idea. And then in the meantime, we can be having a think about where we think would be the kind of most saleable sort of gardens and floral displays that would be likely to attract sponsorship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we agreed the boat was quite a good one.
We did. We thought the boat would be good, didn't we? And we thought Hennebont Gardens might be good as well.
Yeah. So
it's, you know, there might be a few others that people have some thoughts about, so that would be good.
Carrie, Ed, Enya and Sarah are going to be a sounding board for the climate emergency meeting, which I understand's happened.
Yep. And that's all sorted, and obviously it's on the agenda, so Jasmine will be able to update us on the agenda.
Yeah.
Or any of us can update us, but yeah, we know the plan now.
Item 9 is for September meeting, the thing, and the plastic free subgroup. A lot of work's been done on that, I understand, Jasmine.
Yeah, that's been set up, and we had a meeting, and we've got a lot of planning done this month with the Plastic Free Mumbles campaign.
Yeah, so that's good, and we've got Enya here, and I know Rebecca just put some notes in an email about you know, to just make sure that we get a good report back on what's happening with that.
Chair, there was one I missed off there, which was for me to find out about whether the workshop that the City Council used to have on doing wooden projects, whether that's still around. I've not had a chance to do that, but
right, yes, that's right, because we thought it would look much nicer, didn't we, if there were some nice wooden planters around Ostream. Great. Okay, and thank you, Richard, for your offer of a chainsaw.
Yeah,
we'll bear it in mind.
Yeah, on that, if there's something needs doing, sometimes you have trouble getting people. If you want to cut down a 300-year-old oak, Jasmine would kill me if I tried to do that anyway, but that's beyond my limit. I don't climb it with ropes. I can go up to a couple of meters, but it's basically on the ground. If you've got on one of our woods, if there's a tree falling down or something, I can deal with that if necessary.
Lovely.
Yeah,
well, that'd be great.
Richard, it would be great taking you down to the Washing Brook.
Yeah,
it would, because there's a few branches there that could do with removing.
Yeah.
You could leave the oaks alone.
Yeah, they're too hard anyway.
Yeah, they're well hard.
And Jasmine is harder than me as well. So
while we're on oaks, if you don't mind me jumping in, I'm very often digging out acorns that have seeded from the
I've got one in the garden too.
I've got loads. I feel so bad throwing them away. Is there any understanding where we could sort of pot them up and send them on to? Is there
yeah, because I dig them up on the allotment.
Yeah.
I could look into that. That could be an interesting idea, you know, if we had a sort of space where we wouldn't mind having more trees.
Because we have all these orphan oaks.
Nursery, like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it might be something, because I know, as you know, anyone knows who's walked through Castle Woods, and I know Ed knows, obviously, because he's got an allotment up there as well. There are a very large number of trees with blue spots on, which are the ones that are having to be
Ash dieback.
cut down because of the ash dieback. So maybe there might be some potential for, you know, putting a few little, you know, once we've grown them on a bit, if, you know, we've got somewhere we could grow them on, to get some oaks planted in Castle Woods to replace those trees.
Be good.
Well, that would be lovely, because I've got one in a pot and I'm looking at it and thinking, you poor little thing, I've got nowhere to put you. But I can't, after pulling you up, do anything but put you in a pot and keep you safe for a while. That would be great. Yeah.
Richard.
On the trees that are due to come down, is
Yeah.
there any way we could contact the council, because they're the ones going to be doing it, aren't they?
Mhm.
And ask them not to cut them off at the ground, but to cut them, leave trunks about 3-4
Coppice
foot
them,
high.
you mean? Coppice them. Coppice
No,
them.
no,
No,
they can't do
no,
that. They've
no,
got to take
can't.
them back down.
But cut them down, leave the trunks either perhaps 3 to 4 foot high,
Yeah.
and I can do the carving of East Island heads and things like that.
Oh, yes. That would
I'm
be
not
fun.
vegan.
Yeah.
But you know, so
Yeah.
another interesting in the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah, it would. It
Yeah,
would be,
I'll definitely
yeah.
ask about that. That sounds really good.
yeah, good idea.
Okay.
And what I have already said, which I think, actually I probably said it to Maddie, so we probably need to remind them, is to request that all the wood that they cut down is chipped. And we know many places that would be extremely happy to take the wood chip.
There's no infection in the wood then.
I think we'd have to check that.
Yeah,
Because
I would be a bit concerned.
yeah, it would depend on the section, I think. So yeah, we'd have to check on that, because yeah, last thing we'd want would be.
True.
It might be safer to
Richard?
burn it, because if it's got infections, if it's got dieback or anything, you might just end up spreading it to other people's gardens and trees.
Right, Ed, you were
That
going
would
to
be
come
my
in, and
concern.
then Richard.
Yeah, there's such a lot of timber to come down right across Swansea. I did send an email one time to Martin Bignell asking if it could be turned into biochar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
I never really got a sensible answer, so I don't know what the reality of that is. He waffled
Right.
on something, but he wasn't on the subject. But
Oh,
there's such a lot, and biochar is it produces it keeps the carbon in the wood, and so it doesn't put lots of carbon in the atmosphere, and it's superb for you know, improving ground.
oh, right, okay.
So that's something
Right.
to look into, because that would be useful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Richard.
Yeah. Jasmine may be able to answer this. With ash dieback, isn't that basically small beetles?
No, I think that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
I was just looking it up, and I think it's a fungal infection,
Okay.
mostly. And then I think the beetles is a separate thing that can also happen with them. But yeah, so if it's fungal infection, we'd definitely have to check with the regulations for disposal on if
Yeah.
we can keep the wood chipping or not, just in case it could potentially spread it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Could
Ed's idea
use it for
sounds like a
bio,
good
yeah.
alternative. That would
Because
be
that would be treated then because of the heat, wouldn't it? So that would be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would expect that could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's worth, when you're speaking to Martin Bignell, to just sort of raise that as well. You know, and then we can hopefully get a slightly more sensible response than it sounds like Ed got.
Perhaps it's worth asking if you'll come to a meeting, or you know, an outside meeting for us to chat to him about
Yeah.
some of the issues, including where
Okay.
to put our little
Our little
Yeah.
oak trees, yes.
our little yes our oaklets.
Oaklets, yes. Okay, right. So Jasmine, it's over to you. If you want to just you know, go through the, I mean, as usual, it's a lovely detailed and picture friendly report. So if you just want to give us the highlights from it, that would be great.
Yeah, excellent.
Sorry, Jasmine, we've not done the minutes yet.
I thought we had, yes, we have.
Oh, you have? I'm sorry. That was
We
too
did
quick.
them,
we
and
did the minutes, yeah.
nobody objected, so we took them as
They got
agreed.
passed.
Apologies, because there was no comments. I just
Right, yes.
totally forgot. I'll go back to sleep now. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, so do you want me to share the
Oh, yeah.
report again? Yeah.
Yeah, because
I've
I'm not
seen
sure
it.
if Enya will have seen it. I
No,
think
I
the
haven't
rest of
seen
us
it.
have, but yeah, that would be good.
Oh, Steve, could you enable screen sharing, or maybe share it yourself? Because I can't currently.
Yeah, I've enabled the screen sharing now, Jasmine, so you can do it.
Great. Yeah, can you see that? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so let me just have a look at this. So the first thing is that we have a confirmed date of the 6th of August in 6:30 till 8:30 for the climate emergency meeting, and that we're going to hold it at the West Cross Community Centre, which means we have a venue and date that works for Wi-Fi, so we can do it as a hybrid event with both online and in-person attendance. Yeah, we have the family fun days with the environmental events at them of the mini beast hunts, the plastic free mumbles activity sheets and competition, and nature walk at Mumbles Hill. And the first one that went today was, yeah, we had really positive feedback. I'm currently editing a video that I filmed with Rebecca and some mums in the local area on reusable nappies and the benefits and potential drawbacks of them, and the sort of environmental benefits of them as well. And here we have a quite hideous photo taken by Maddie at one of the beach litter cleans of them finding disposable nappies at the beach. And then this is already on the agenda for later on, but we've got a number of different other environmental events planned for the next month. And then we have Deborah did her ecological report for the Smug site, and I met with her and Mark Barber, but I believe that's also on the agenda for later.
Yeah.
And yeah, for plastic free mumbles, yeah, we've ordered another lot of the reusable coffee cups for the Pick Up Your Cup campaign. We're organising a information display at Mumbles Market to tell people about the organisation and project. And then we're also starting some in-person plastic free mumbles meetings at the Austrian once a month for interested people. And we've still got the monthly litter picks on the last Saturday of the month. And that we also just want to say a huge thank you to all of our volunteers, because they've been absolutely brilliant over the whole last year of the campaign. And yeah, they deserve a lot of credit. So
Indeed, absolutely.
That's my report notes.
Brilliant. Okay, so has anybody got any questions for Jasmine on anything from the report? We always have at least one cat in every meeting.
Yeah.
Where can we get the reusable nappies? Not personally, you know what I mean, but
yeah. So
a friend and family.
Yeah. So this is something Rebecca knows even more about than I do. But so that's one thing we're covering in the video, is some information about how to get them and source them. But you can buy them online at a number of places, and then there's also a number of and then so Swansea Council has a system where you can claim up to £100 back for reusable nappies. And that includes ones that you buy that are secondhand. So they're also really common on Facebook Marketplace, really high quality ones that you can get on there.
You can pick some of them up in Aldi and Lidl as well. When they have baby events, they tend to sell them there.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I've got lists of websites I can send you, Jasmine, that sell them.
Oh, that's
Brilliant.
really good. You should put those up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good to add put in with the video. Then, you know, people can straight away know where to find them.
Because the point is, as well,
brilliant.
it's helpful for parents on a low income as well. If you get the support and the help, buying them, it makes it also far more usable.
Yeah, and then of course they've got, you know, all the saving then on not having to keep buying throw-in nappies.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Okay, excellent. Right, any other questions for Jasmine? Okay, right. Okay, right, next is an update on Mumbles in Bloom. Obviously, all the publicity has gone out. Have we had any feedback yet about anybody showing an interest?
I haven't had any interest to me yet. We had reasonable positive engagement on the social media posts on the environmental page.
Okay.
But no one specifically entering as of yet.
Right.
And then, we also, with SA1, trying to set up, because I was talking with Claire and she doesn't think it's feasible to ask for a portal thing on the website.
Oh,
so we're going to set up Mumbles in Bloom email address and ask people to email in their photos, and then we'll just do it all on there. And then whoever's judging can have the password for the email address, sort of thing. So that's that. And then I've also contacted the people that we've previously ordered the postcards from to check that they still do that. And they do, and I've just got to send them the sort of finalized version of the design, and then we can get those printed.
Brilliant.
So that's the current sort of where we're at with it. And then now Claire's coming back this week from her break. There's a couple of things we're going to ask if she could contact, sort of like radio or other press contacts that she has, you know, to try and get even more info about it. And then when we have the postcards as well, we can go around sort of nominating people and be like, your garden is lovely. Would you like to send us photos of it for the competition?
Yeah.
Which should also really help. I was also thinking of potentially doing just a short video of how to enter, of just, you know, take the photos. This is how many for each category. These are the categories, and then send them to us by attaching it to your email. Just to also, it's an extra way people can find out about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Great. Okay, Sarah.
Yeah, I think we're up against the normal, natural modesty of the average Welsh gardener. When you speak to me, say, oh, garden's lovely, and they go, oh, it's all right. And they don't go and enter. This is what Helen and I found, is that people don't. There's a hardcore of 1 or 2 people that may. And ironically, they're not the kind of people who normally want to enter if it's green. They're usually the ones with the striped lawns and things, you know what I mean? So to reach people who actually garden, I think we're going to have to go old school and sometimes take photographs and say, we've bloody entered you. There we are. We've entered you because your garden is lovely and you deserve to have it entered. We can send the cards. We can do the softly approach and give it a go. But I am worried that there won't be enough people who will enter.
Well,
That's my concern.
You know, if it's small, it's small. I think, you know, it's a sort of trial run, and like everything, sometimes these things take a while to take off. But I think the cards will help, because, you know, we put them through like previous entrance doors, and just with a reminder, and you know, and just encourage people to, you know, share them with their friends. Please, you know, please tell us about your friends' gardens, because, you know, in case they won't tell us, we want you to tell us instead.
Yeah.
And certainly I think it'd be good to, like, you know, the Beaufort, the Pilot, the Park, you know, all the
They
the
all
businesses
deserve
that
to
have
be
got
entered.
lovely
But I
gardens.
think businesses will enter. It's the problem we have is the reticence of the average gardener who'll look at their garden and go, oh, it's not as good as I wanted it to be. And that's what we're up against. It's like, come on, enter it. It's lovely. I was talking to mums today who were talking about how much they've taken over, done wildlife gardens. It's a bit of a mess, but we're sure. I said, send pictures in, please. We really want them. And we really need to push that actually every time from now on with the parties. Perhaps if we got something Mumbles in Bloom and say, please enter, we're trying to encourage wildlife gardens. We want to see your weeds as well as your flowers, you know. But it's really going to be a push because whenever people think gardens, they think Chelsea Flower Show and they go, oh, we're not up to that standard. And they don't. And I think it's going to be really difficult. It's an uphill struggle.
Yeah.
Because people are naturally modest. And they always think somebody's other garden is better than theirs. Which is, I think, why the cards and just taking the photos of the front gardens was a positive, because they didn't get a say in the matter. They found out they were entered regardless. They went, oh, all right then.
Yeah, but the front, of course, we're looking at a lot of people, it's all in their back gardens, and that's the really important thing to get those. Ed?
I'd like to nominate somebody, so I need to get my hands on a card.
Yep.
On the walk down the steps that goes down to the lower shops, there's nobody's got a garden there. They're those up and down houses, you know.
Oh yes.
You have the bedrooms up downstairs and the living room upstairs.
Yeah.
And this woman's got a strip. She's got a retaining wall and then a small strip of just council grass, you might say. And she's cut out a trench there and put a little bed, and her daughter's helping her, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, fabulous.
It's only a strip, but
that's all we need.
Doesn't matter.
So it's brilliant. I'd like to, you know, put either
definitely,
put her in or get her to join. Put herself
well,
in.
Ed, if we give you a few cards, you can always take them around. I bet you see a few gardens.
There we are.
That we don't, and you should enter them.
Yeah, can I get them?
Sarah, I think you were with me when we were out canvassing. Somewhere in the flats, there was a lady, and there was a couple of them that lived in the flats who'd done some lovely stuff.
Oh, there's some amazing gardens in those flats. They're tiny spaces, and they do it all in pots, and it's amazing.
No,
they make their own mini jungles.
Beds. Do you remember? And they'd actually dug the beds out and put lovely plants and shrubs. It was one of those, you know what it's like, that maze of, you know, in and out spaces.
Baywood?
Where they were sort of sitting out in their deck chairs. Chatting, and they were all tending to these bits of ground that they just between them had turned into some really lovely beds.
It's probably Baywood. Was it Baywood or Warwick?
Might be Baywood. Yeah, it probably was Baywood. Yeah.
We could always go and walk around again.
Or else it was that bit. I'm a bit hopeless, but you know the road down from Ed's Road.
Yeah.
You've got all those blocks of flats that are kind of in sort of at angle. Warwick, yeah.
Warwick, Phil's saying in the background, Warwick.
That's the one. I'm sure it was somewhere in those.
Right.
Yeah.
So search Warwick.
Oh, I know.
I feel like I have Cinderella's slipper and I'm looking for Cinderella there. Okay.
I know.
Okay. All right.
But it's things like that which are great, because they're just taking it upon themselves to just, you know, they've got that patch of ground outside their window and they've
done beautiful things
with it.
Yeah. And the butterflies appreciate it.
Yeah.
We haven't looked at yew tree this year, and I bet they wouldn't enter themselves.
That's
they
true. We
dream of
need
it.
to make sure we only need to put one card in yew tree and they'll all tell each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or they'll sulk and say, why did they get the card through their door?
We'll have to put it on the back. Please share with all the neighbours.
Yeah, we're being environmentally sound. We're cutting down on the postcards.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Right. Okay, so we're you know, we just have to do what we can. And as I say, it's obviously a whole new you know, way of doing things, and we just have to see how it goes. And as the, you know, people will get to know about it, and hopefully in future and next year we'll have lots of people sending in their photos.
Well, we can gauge by this year. If it doesn't work this year, we go back to
no, we do both next year. We don't say if it doesn't work this year, because this year's the first year, and things, you know, won't necessarily work as well in the first year, you know, but next year we do both.
Okay.
You know, because we can't get to see people's back gardens by looking from the street. They need
we can't
invite us into them.
What we found was when we were going around looking with Tivy, and people said, oh, come in, look at our back garden. But the thing was, the whole idea of Mumbles in Bloom and Wales in Bloom was we celebrated people's front gardens because that was a part of the community. Yeah. That was the bit where people shared. Your private garden is done for you. Your front garden is done for your neighbourhood. And that's why the front garden was celebrated and made a big fuss of, because it was for everyone.
But if the back garden's
But as Phil said, if the back garden's environmental.
Exactly. That's why, as I say, that's why we decided this year we wanted to include back gardens, because a lot of people, that's where they'll have all their, you know, their weeds, edible growing, and their environmental stuff, and their wildflower patches. Yeah. And those are the bits we want to encourage.
Yeah. Yeah. But we really need to push the fact that we like their stuff being wild. We like a wild back garden.
Just keep at it and see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay, right. Climate emergency meeting. Well, yeah, I think we've got that pretty much sorted now, haven't we, Jasmine? We've got our speakers and we've got our venue. We just need to make sure we get really push the publicity about it so people can come along if they want to, as well as joining online.
And we got Wi-Fi. Hooray!
Yeah. Can we get a poster?
Oh yeah.
So I got the IT department to update the last year's poster, but unfortunately they then put March 2021 on it. So I'm just getting them to update it to be August 6th instead. And then we'll have that poster. Yeah, and we also have the Facebook events that all feel free to share. And then I've also asked there to be a link to that, as well as that information on the website. And yeah, that contains the Zoom link. So if you want to share the Zoom link itself, you're also very welcome to do that. All of you are invited. But please let me know if you're going to be attending in person or on Zoom. Either is useful. Very much either is useful, but just, please let me know as soon as possible, just so we can work out the numbers.
Yeah. How are the numbers going, Jasmine? How many people have you got so far?
Yeah, so currently we have about 10 people attending online, at least like confirmed. It's hard to tell because some people just sort of like are interested.
Yeah.
And then I think we have about 10 in person currently, but we have enough capacity to have 18 in person. So trying to get it up towards that. From sort of the list we discussed in the subcommittee meeting, and then also trying to really build up the Zoom link attendance. So and then also Plastic Free Torridge, when I was talking to them earlier, said that they would share the invite to their Plastic Free Facebook page as well. So hopefully we can get some more people from a bit further out who are also in environmental circles, like sharing it and attending and bringing their input to everything. So
so maybe when you've got the correct date on it, we can get some of those posters printed out, because I know Ed said he put one on his gate, which would be good.
Could I ask something absolutely crazy, but there's some semblance of sense in it? What about our twinned places? Is it worth putting it out to them?
It would be. I bet Harvard of Grace would be really interested, and Hannah Bont as well. I can put it on our twinning Facebook page.
Because, you know, they have different cultures, different outlooks, they could feed it back into us, and we could feed to them what we're doing.
Yeah, because
And the
definitely
time
Harvard of Grace, they have this heritage garden where they're actually producing lots of organic heritage fruit and vegetables and things.
Ooh, lovely.
And they've got quite a big environmental campaign and green campaigns going on there. So yeah, there'll be people probably in Harvard of Grace.
I mean, they are supposed to be our twins, so
they are our twins.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
So
just supposed
better-
to be, they
No,
really,
but
really
yeah,
are.
but share with them the environmental
Yeah,
stuff, because they
definitely.
might really enjoy that and feed into us and to them. That kind of, you know, you never know. You never know what's going to come out.
No, that'd be good. Yeah, Ed.
Jasmine, can I ask what response you had from the Assembly members, Julie James and Rebecca Evans, and Tonya, the MP?
Yeah, so I haven't emailed them yet. I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
James
if you already sent me their contact details, I can do that soon. But if not, I'll need to find their contact details and then send them.
You should be able to find Julie James's contact details if you go to the Assembly Senedd website.
Yeah,
I think they have all the contact details because yeah, she's Minister for Climate Change, so it'd be great if she could be there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just for sort of dipping in for 10 minutes. It would just be lovely to see her there.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Fabulous.
And yeah, and then also with the twin areas as well, if I can have their contact details to also like email them across a nice little slightly personalized email invite, I think that could be nice.
Yeah, I'll send you the emails for the sort of secretaries of the two associations. So
brilliant.
Email them as well, and then I'll put it on the twinning website, twinning Facebook page as well.
I could imagine Harvard of Grace being very positive about that. They
I'm
would
sure.
be wanting to, yeah.
Because they really are very, very, very strongly into the whole environmental and climate emergency.
As I'm sure Hennebont are too.
Yeah, having just, managed to climb out from under the Trump era, I think they're just relishing the opportunity to be able to be more open about it.
Yeah, to not be seen as a bad guy for being green.
I don't know if it's biologically sensitive, but could we send them a version of the Mumbles apples that we've got, the Channel Beauty and things like that?
How long do you think they'd take with Brexit to get through the customs and off to America?
They'd need watering.
But Debbie, who is the secretary of the association, is coming over here this month.
Oh, excellent.
So we could give her one.
That'd be good. Yeah.
And then she could see if they could grow some Channel Beauties in America.
Yeah.
Oh, could we send her an oak as well? Or are we allowed to?
I don't know about. Yeah, we'd have to check about the
sanity and all that.
Yeah, whether they're allowed.
Sanitation.
Yeah.
Phytosanity, whatever.
Biosecurity.
Biosecurity.
That's the word. That's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So climate emergency meeting. Hopefully we're all set. And all of you, everybody, just tell your friends, spread it round. Because everybody can join online wherever.
Again, it's something we should have a posters up and put them up during the parties, because that could act as a very good, advertising
on the fun days. She's worked.
Yeah.
She insists
well, there's
on
only one fun day now, isn't it? Left before it, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, we could. There's only one. Yes. Before.
I know. I just hit me. This next one. Gosh, of course it is. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Just if we can share it as much as possible on social media, that'd be great.
Just talk about it as well.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Smugs. Jasmine, do you want to just update us? Because obviously you and Deborah and Mark are the most recent visitors to the site.
Yes. Yeah. So we had the ecological report back. It was really positive. Basically what it was there's lots of really good things, but there's not many super rare things in a way that it means we can do a lot of work there and things will come back. We don't have to be too precious about any particular bits.
That's
except
good.
there are 3 invasive species on the site, but they aren't hugely prevalent, but they just need to be sort of watched. So there are 2 medium threat level ones and 1 small Japanese knotweed plant in the shaded area. So need to get that sorted soon, but it should be easy because it's approximately pen height.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Richard?
On the Japanese knotweed, I know it costs a lot of money to sort out normally.
Yeah.
Do you want me to spray it?
I'm not sure if, because the guys were talking about the ideally non-spraying options for weed killing at the moment. I don't know if that would.
The non-spraying,
Yeah.
you've either got to go out 7 meters and down 5 meters, or
Oh my
down
God.
7 meters and out the other distance, and dig out all the soil all around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of soil, and each ton of it is controlled waste. That's why it's prohibitive. That's why it's prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
That's why spraying, you got to do it a few times each year, and then it'll get less and less, and after a few years, it's gone. And the spray you've used, I don't know nobody likes it, but it's one of the few decent uses of glyphosate.
It's a difficult one. I don't see how we could justify doing that on a nature reserve, really.
I think we'd have to
put up with it.
Yeah, we'd have to review that one because it is in a site where it is fairly far away from other vegetation, but we would have to look into that. So I'll get back to you on that, but I appreciate the offer and we can see. But
I mean,
it is
difficult,
slightly clashing with our other previous sort of trajectories, I think, on other sides.
I think we're going to have to leave that to Jasmine to decide. She's the environmental officer, and we'll go by whatever decision you make, Jasmine, on that.
But I mean, it is a notifiable plant, isn't it? So we do have to kind of alert Swansea Council to the fact that it is there.
The biodiversity officer for Swansea.
Well, of course, he was there. Yes,
has already seen it. Yeah, but I can also mention it further if needed, and I'll look into the options and sort of weigh up for this particular plant, because I think both options have some pros and cons, really, for this particular one. And I do think in some extreme, like knotweed cases, it definitely makes sense to get rid of them so they don't continue being a problem.
Yeah.
Even if it's.
I think.
Anyway, yeah.
If you've got, Mark is the person, and really it's sort of I think, Sarah's right. If we leave it to you and Mark to actually, decide on how it can be managed or whether it needs to be completely removed. And I think between you and Mark that you're probably the best placed people to make that decision.
Yeah, okay. And then, there's 2 other ones. One kind of looks like the top of a pineapple. And there's another one that I can't remember exactly what it looks like, but it's photographed in Deborah's report. And those ones are just ones where it's clearly been planted as in someone's garden and it's got onto the site, and they can spread quite a lot. So it's sort of remove it, and then just if you see more pop up in future, we'll need to keep managing it, but it shouldn't be too bad.
No.
And then so we looked around the site, and there's a couple of different considerations. So one thing we realized is that the area at the back, which has the plan for where the children's allotment section is.
Allotment,
Yes, the community allotment is rather shaded. So we're thinking of potentially moving that to perpendicular to where it was.
Okay. Because we were talking about getting some of those overhanging trees cut back in the autumn anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But just because of the amount of canopy on it and the angle of the sun, we just thought it's very likely it's gonna be fairly shaded for a lot of the year quite quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's good. If if you've got if Deborah's saying it would be good here, then that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really not moving it far within the plan. It's just moving it around so that they're much more likely to successfully grow some things, basically.
Yeah.
And then
presumably we could use the shady area to put the shed in, because
exactly,
doesn't mind being in the shade.
That's exactly what we were thinking. Definitely. And then that also, with the shed still being there, that also helps to block off some of the back route that we wanted to try and start blocking off. And then we're also thinking that if small amounts of soil excavation occur on the site, including to set in the pond, we can also put that across the back bank potentially to further sort of block off the side opposite the entrance that you can drive up to, if that makes sense. That sort of back side.
I know that along the back there where the kids tend to like to kind of build dens and climb over the top.
So there was that thought, and then there was also they definitely both Mark and Deborah and also I think building a hedge along where the fence is would be ideal for blocking it off in a sort of really positive biodiversity way, because it would just create so much habitat. It's really good structure for it, and it's already a sort of raised bed anyway, so it could be a really nice line. So we're thinking of looking to hedge options there, and Deborah gave me a contact for that, who's a local person that has a hedge building business that could work with that. And then for the pond, Mark's also does a lot of work with the, sorry, Sarah, do you want to go now?
I was just going to say, is there any way you could do a sort of rough drawing of the redrawing of the plan so we know what we're looking at?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I'll see if I've got a pen that's bold enough to show up.
No, you don't have to do it now. I'm just saying at a later date so we can show it, so we have a better idea.
I was just drafting out for myself here now.
I thought you might be.
I'll just to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to do it now.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great if you could have that ready for when we have our next Mugs group, then obviously we can send it out and then everybody will have an idea of,
and a picture speaks 1,000 words or whatever they say. But
it really does.
Sorry, you were talking about the pond. Yes.
For the pond, Mark works at the Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Trust, so he's got more expertise in ponds than I do. And he was looking at the ground and thinking it's really not ideal for excavating downwards. So he strongly recommends we look at raised ponds, or like semi-raised ponds, and also because that can make it a lot safer health and safety wise for having near the children's bit, because you can very easily do sort of teaching lessons and things with them, fairly raised. And that way you can also, there's different ways you can do them. You can build one like that, but also you can buy sort of pre-made ones to a certain size. So you just measure out the area you want it to be, and you buy one to those sort of dimensions, and then you get it. And the way they work as well is they do have one sloped side, which we probably have facing towards the shaded bit in the shed. And that's so if anything falls in,
it gets out.
Again, which works for sort of people and animals alike, but hopefully shouldn't be tested too much with the people.
Hopefully not too many children, but...
And we were talking about also how obviously we want it to be safe, and we think, if it's raised, people aren't going to accidentally walk into it in the same at all.
Right.
And therefore we think that sort of meets the health and safety within common sense being expected kind of way that a nature reserve space kind of needs to balance. Hopefully we can also have a sign, or we could have some fencing around it still, but just we thought a raised one would be ideal if we can.
And then presumably we can use planting
Yeah,
around it to sort of, you know, soften the edges, as it were.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that we can, it looks like it just sort of blends in with the rest of it by putting
Yeah.
some nice.
yeah, and allows amphibians
Well.
to get out and get
Yeah.
onto the ground. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
protects it further. Yeah.
And then the shaded area still works really well for shaded woodland plants. And we're thinking with if we get some native bluebells planted in there as well, it would be really lovely.
That would look gorgeous.
Yeah, so we're really going to try and encourage some of that, some wood anemone, some classic sort of ancient woodland plants in there.
Beautiful.
And then there's one part that I wanted to get everyone's opinions on. Because we were sort of thinking about the different options with it, and there's a number of different sort of two quite different ways we can go with it. So there's the section that's between the hedge along the side of the allotments that exists currently and the wall, the ancient wall bit that's underneath. And currently it's got some sort of shrub to small tree level sections all across. And one thing Deborah was suggesting is that if we did want to have a sort of tiny woodland area within it, we could fairly easily plant sort of trees up until the ancient wall bit and then sort of manage any bit beyond there and sort of have trees in that bit. But that would mean that the idea of having a bench at the top would be less accessible than it would be currently. And it would take up, you know, a portion of it, and you would still have to make sure some of the kind of shrub layer things don't go outwards too much. But also they were saying that to try and keep it constantly at a walkable level on that side, because it's next to the existing hedge as well, would take a lot of management, you know, sort of twice yearly to management to keep it at that. Whereas sort of the other patches, it's much smaller self-sprouting vegetation, so it's a bit less management, basically. So does anyone have any sort of thoughts on the tree strip versus the easily accessible hill section that's more like the current plan?
Okay, it sounds like you want the easy accessible hill type. But if you weren't, would it be hazel or some sort of mixture of a hedgerow type thing that we could keep as a hedge more, but with berries for the wildlife and flowers?
So this section, it's less hedgy, but beyond it, we were also thinking of adding to the existing sort of row of trees hedge section. To try and sort of fill in. There's a couple of little gaps. But this is more sort of like a line of trees with some
as
kind
well.
Of undergrowth. I don't actually have a strong preference either way, though I do think the trees could be easier to manage, potentially.
Well, I think trees and then undergrowth after time, grow undergrowth, or we put stuff in so it's different layers, you know, for more wildlife. Or, you know, or am I going the wrong way? Thinking.
Chair, could I just, obviously, SMUG's operation group, SMUG's the other group, is it worthwhile they considering it and making a recommendation?
I think that's probably a good idea.
Right.
All these things need to be discussed there. Ed?
Yeah, but again, Jasmine, I think it's going to come down to you in the end. You need to look at how much wildlife you can get in there and what would be the most useful stuff to put in.
Could we have a site visit soon so that we could see
it
in the round?
So what we've got to do is do some sort of clearing of some of this growth and stuff. So it'd be good to get a site meeting and a kind of work group together to start doing some work on it.
That sounds good to me. Sort of midweeks or weekend afternoons work best for me currently with the next month. But again, that's something I guess we can also talk about with the SMUGs group.
SMUGs group,
Okay, so
the only thing I would
update.
say about trees is we need to be careful if we're putting trees there that they're not going to overshadow either the allotment or our new community allotment.
Yeah.
So we need to think in terms of either quite small, manageable trees.
Or very open ones like birch or something.
Yeah, because what we don't want is the people on the allotment complaining that we've introduced, you know, a barrier that would adversely affect their allotments.
Yeah, that was also a thing Deborah was considering and mentioning to us on the site visit. And we're thinking sort of small rowan and apple trees or those type of things.
That's great.
I was thinking some nice sort of natural little, you know, cherries or things like that.
Rowan, rowan would be great because of the berries and everything. They'd be great. Yeah.
And I think we already have some existing rowan around the area as well, so it should grow really well. So yeah, things we can discuss further in future.
Brilliant.
Excellent point, Steve. But also, yeah, that's the Smugs plans, and great to hear everyone's input on it. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Okay, right. Sorry, yes, I'm conscious. I'm hoping to finish at 7:30. Cleansing SLA, right? Well, the saga continues. How long has it been? 10 years, is it? I seem to remember on that SLA, the original date was 2008.
That's correct, yeah.
But we have made some progress, haven't we? So
yes, we've got another meeting coming up shortly, haven't we?
Yeah.
So hopefully we have something for the committee for the September meeting for them to have a look at.
So really the sort of the brief outline is that we have now met with Stuart Willingale, I think his name is, isn't it? Yes, the chap, and he was actually very helpful. He's been quite proactive, which, you know, we have not had before. So, you know, it is quite a step forward. That he's really helpful, and he's already picked up and he's been trying to find ways of addressing the littering problems in Oystermouth Square car park, and, you know, the bins that get left out outside Boots. So in that way, that's good. Enya?
I don't know if this comes under cleansing, but I was talking to Rebecca and Jasmine earlier. At Rotherslade, they've got a sign saying about a barbecue bin, and the sign says Mumbles Community Council, but the bin has gone. They've only got and my dad was there the other day, and someone had actually put a barbecue in the plastic bin, and he said he had to put the fire out.
Oh God.
So
right, we will. Steve, can you make a note of that? And we need to look at whether that's for some reason being taken away by Swansea Council, or whether it's something we need to get replaced.
It was something they used to do every winter. They used to take it away and they were supposed to put them back, weren't they, Steve, if I remember, back in the highways days.
Yeah.
And it was always a case of please put the bins back, because...
Well, there's definitely one on Langland, because I've seen it.
Yeah, the one at Rotherslade isn't there, and I don't know about any of the others.
Did we put one in Rotherslade? Did we?
Yeah, there's the sign.
There's a sign there.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, we need it back.
If you could chase up with, find out where our barbecue bin has gone.
I'm literally doing it now, Chair.
One of our bins is missing.
Yes. Okay, so the cleansing SLA, we are sort of hopeful that we might actually have something to report to you in the September meeting, that we've actually got some sort of decision on how we're going forward. So a lot of it is sort of, you know, little details, but what we want to get to is a position whereby we can actually know exactly what is being done with the money that we are paying them for, and that we have some control over it. So if we know there's a particular problem, you know, like Steve was saying about, you know, all those sort of bits around the back of benches where you just get stuff sort of growing up and bits of rubbish sort of gathering, because the cleaning machines go along the front, but they don't ever bother to go around the back, you know. And it's things like that that we just want to try and make some sort of way that we can say, please go and deal with, you know, this area because there's a lot of rubbish collected around there and we need it cleaned. Please, can you cut back these weeds that are growing up and around the bench and people can't sit on it, that kind of stuff.
I mean, they have suggested, haven't they, Chair, that we just have sort of 2 days where they're the 2 days, Mumbles days, where they just do anything that we want them to do.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the easiest way to go about it.
So hopefully we're looking at a way that we can give them a kind of schedule for those days, that we know that on those days they're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. So hopefully, as I say, we might have some more definite information for September.
Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
so Swansea Uni Sea Hive and Oyster projects. This is a couple of really interesting projects that Swansea University are involved in and that they would like us to participate in. So the first one is the Sea Hive, which some of you, if anyone walks on the beach at the front rather than Langham Bay, will have seen those interesting hexagonal tiles that have been stuck onto the seawall. If not, it's worth a little wander down there to have a look.
Right.
And what they are, they're a project that Swansea University are doing to see that all the tiles have different surfaces. Some quite smooth, some quite sort of ridged, ones with shells on, ones that are kind of like a wave pattern. And they want to find out what attracts algae or small creatures or whatever to actually sort of grow on different tile surfaces. And part of this will help to inform when they build a new sea wall, the kind of surface that you know, they should be putting on the sea wall. Richard.
Yeah, there is a sign on the seafront explaining that.
That's it.
I had a good look at them while the tide was in, but I was in a boat at the time. So if you're doing the tides in, make sure you're in a boat, otherwise till it's out.
Yeah.
You get very wet, yes.
We'll remember that, Richard.
Yeah, it's to see what seaweed attaches to itself as well, to it. Because apparently with a seaweed, if you have a wall with seaweed on it, I think it resists corrosion more or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It takes some of the wave action into the seaweed, and therefore it reduces the impact on the wall itself. Yeah, I worked on a similar project at Swansea University in my 2 years ago. Yeah, it also they found that some of the animals behave differently as well, based on the shape of the tile. Because if there's like shaded areas, they might rest on it longer, whereas if it's just a bit too exposed, like a flat normal seawall, the animals will go over it and then leave. So it's sort of what things can we do to encourage more animals to use the space and more plants to grow here, and keep using this sort of functional space for humans as a biological space as well.
Yeah, so what they would like us to do is really encourage residents, particularly dog walkers, because a lot of people take their dogs down to the front, to actually spend time looking at the tiles. Each one has got a separate number on, so they're easily recognizable. And if they see anything interesting on any of the tiles, as you say, like a small creature that's sitting on it, or where there's evidence of algae growing or seaweed attaching, there's another cat. That's the third of the meeting. And what Ruth Calloway, who is the professor in charge, wants is if they could take a picture of it, make sure that the tile number is clear, and then send them to her so that they're getting a regular sort of update. And obviously the more people that are looking at them and photographing, the more data they will be able to collect about the kinds of creatures. And ideally, obviously, if you can on your photo say the date and time that it was taken, so that they know whether it was after the tide had gone out or just before the tide is coming in or on a windy day or whatever. So we've got to look at getting some sort of, you know, a message out on the website, on our social media, just asking people to have a look at them, anything interesting, take a picture and send it in to the university, and they would be very grateful.
I have to say, it was a very interesting meeting. What I understood of it, I had to Google a lot as I was listening to find out what they were talking about. It seems like they have the same problem with oysters as we have with our seaweed, not seagrass, sorry, more specific, sorry, Jasmine, in the respect that they need stiller water, and otherwise they need baskets to keep the oysters in. And there was talk about a pier being maybe a good idea, because they could put stuff around the pier. Yeah, so it was fascinating. But again, a lot of research, and there was a lot of ifs and buts. And it doesn't sound as if Mumbles was the ideal place for oyster beds. But it
Which is odd, considering it was such a, sorry, yes, anyway, that's the second part of this item.
Yeah.
Is the oyster project. That this is quite a big research project, and they've asked, they've set up an advisory group, and they've asked us to be on that advisory group so that we can input into this whole project and looking at the potential for introducing oysters into the area. Richard.
Yeah. Now, one thing that may have helped the oyster beds there was an artificial harbour. It wasn't a harbour the way we think of it. You can see in some photographs, close where the seawalls are, where there's like the dead boats, the backbones of the boats still there. They had some sort of sandbank there. I don't know if they put something there to encourage the sandbank to grow, but that helped the waters to stay still, I think.
I think they're called groins, are they? They put them out to stop the water stuff moving from one part
those are what you see on beaches, and I'm surprised we haven't got them in Mumbles, but they had something, somehow, a massive sandbar, and that created a harbour one side of it.
Yeah, I think part of what it is, of course, the huge area now
is dredged.
The whole prom, basically, is all reclaimed. So when the oysters were at their sort of most commercially viable, it was of course when the bay came sort of basically to Mumbles Road. So it might have meant that there was a much more sheltered section that now of course is Southend Gardens and car parks and Mumbles Road and Verdi's and all those other bits of ground that were all reclaimed to build the Mumbles Railway in the first place. Ed.
Mumbles Development Trust introduced a project some years ago.
Yep.
We seeded a lot of oysters, and they didn't like it. They legged it over to Aberavon.
Ran off to Port Talbot. Yeah, I know. Yes, Mumbles Development Trust are on the advisory group as well, because I said to Ruth that I knew that it was something they had been involved in before. But yes, I know they all ran away, didn't they?
I'm tempted to call them lowlives.
On the shellfish thing, I was speaking to a shellfish fisherman about 2 years ago. He's a Welsh fisherman, and he was saying that the Swansea Bay now, the water is possibly too clean for the whelks. And any shellfish that filters the water, what goes in there and breaks down feeds them. Yeah, we don't like what goes in and what they feed on, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's more food for them over in Port Talbot. Must be. That's why they went.
That's right. It's a bit grubbier over there. But anyway, they're great projects. It's lovely that they've contacted us and asked us if we want to be part of it, because, you know, it's just, again, Mumbles Community Council just being part of wider things that are going on, and people knowing about us and actually thinking, oh, you know, they've got really good environmental programs. Let's involve Mumbles Community Council in these projects. So, you know,
that's
in that
why
way,
I thought it'd be good, an invite from them to the Bollums of the pier, because I know they've tried to do conservation things with the pier in the past.
Yeah.
And this might be the link they need.
Absolutely.
But 50 litres each shellfish is supposed to be able to filter for pure water. That is impressive. Just by itself, forget about them being viable to eat. They can stay on the ocean bed and do that. That's great. It's good. So there we go.
Yeah. So as you say, even if they may never be on a commercial scale, just that benefit that they have to the water quality is fantastic.
Yeah, it's enough for our interest to be picked about. Yeah.
So we will keep you updated on progress on both those projects. But what we will need to, is make sure out on. So Steve, if you could make a note, whether we need to just put a little piece out on the website and social media about encouraging people to take photographs of the tiles. And we can give them. Ruth said just use her email address for people to send them into.
Okay, sure, Chair.
Fab, thank you. Right, Jasmine, a quick up on this rather exciting sounding new possibility we have for a woodland investment grant.
Yes, I'm very excited about this, and I really hope it works. But basically, so the National Forest of Wales project has set up.
Oh, we've lost Jasmine. You've gone on to mute.
Oh no! Hi, sorry. I'll start again. I didn't realize I was on mute. Okay, so very excited about this project. So the National Forest of Wales has set up what is called the Woodland Investment Grant, which is a nice acronym of TWIG.
Yes.
And basically, it's this grant that you can apply for by the end of August. So we need to get the application going soon.
Yes.
And it's for projects which will improve the biodiversity and or accessibility of woodlands, so that they can be improved spaces that fit more of the criteria towards becoming part of the National Forest of Wales, which is this big scheme that they announced in 2020, where they've made a criteria of what sort of their ideal woodland goals would be. And they're trying to get as many woods across the country to get up to the standards of becoming National Forest certified. So what we would be able to do with it is we can increase accessibility through improving public footpaths, through clearing back areas that are currently not accessible, and through also adding sort of engagement things such as like nature trail walks for kids, interpretation boards, that sort of thing. And we can also do vegetation management, sort of planting some more desirable plants that we want to add in certain areas, clearing some areas that might be getting slightly too overgrown for a bit, that sort of thing can all come under the grant. And the amount available is between £10,000 and £250,000 for the project, so it can really cover a lot, which is excellent. And yeah, so what we were thinking is putting forward an application for the Washingbrook Woods area, because that one is one where residents have come to us and said they really want, in the short term, it to be cleared more, which we've talked to Swansea Council about and we'll try and make actually happen soon, for the paths. And then also in long term, the paths are very poor quality at the moment. There's a lot of sections where there's quite big drops between a sort of rocky section and a flat section and a dip. There's multiple places where the path floods when it's rained too much. And there's an area near the other side where we might need to try and see if we could add like a small boardwalk area or something, so you can walk over it, because there's a small little waterfall, and diverting that is just not going to be sustainable. So those are the kind of things we'd really like to put in the grant for, as well as so just improving that main path so it's accessible for families and wheelchairs and just like generally more accessible to walk along. And then also we can do some vegetation kind of improvements and things as well, and hopefully add, they also were saying some sort of wooden play equipment, kind of similar to some of the things they've put in Klein, could be really nice as sort of an interactive element for the kids to increase how many people would use the space. So this is the sort of thing where I'm trying to make a summary document currently to send around to all of the Swansea people just to check if there's anyone in Swansea Council with land permissions that would reject us putting in the application. But as long as they have the approval, I'm also working on a more detailed version of the application to send to Swansea Council to just double check that they're happy for us to use the land. What I found from Sean is that the environmental officer is that he says that some of the land is privately owned, sort of beyond the bridge section.
Oh,
but the part until then is Swansea Council land. So we're trying to double check exactly where the boundary is. But yeah, we really want to, we think there's some really good work we could do with this one. Unfortunately, there's quite a quick turnaround. So you have to get all of the work for the grant done, or sort of all purchases made at least, by the 3rd week in March. So that's why we're sort of thinking of this fairly medium scale project, which we already have specific plans sort of for, as the application for this August. And then if we don't get it, we'll have feedback and we can apply again next year. But then we can also apply for other different sites for next year's round of applications, because it's going to be a yearly grant application from now on. So we can look at other areas we'd like to improve or increase forest areas for that in future. And I'd love to take suggestions for that. Sarah?
Yeah, I'm really excited that you said washing, because my first time I put my hand up, I was going to suggest it, because I've had, as you know, so many people say, oh, we love walking through there, and it's such a beautiful place, but it's such a mess.
Exactly,
what I was going to say, as one of the mums who came to us that we had the walkthrough, she mentioned, and I remember as a child, that they used to cut the grass close to the stream in places, which is quite a large space. And she asked if we could cut the grass there again so that the kids could picnic on there, because it's such a nice space. I don't know what you think about that, because it's this weighing up about wilding and whether wildlife uses it, or whether we can allow some areas again that kids can play in and enjoy.
Yeah, having visited that site, I think that's a very reasonable request, because there's a lot of very rewilded areas within the woodlands, and there's also a big grass area right nearby as well in various sections, including the one we're in today. So there really is that habitat nearby, so I don't think it would be a big loss to cut the grass in that area. So I can put that as a suggestion to Swansea Council in their vegetation management of it.
It does give the children another area to play in, and it's good.
Exactly.
It's good for them to enjoy it then as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really, I mean, my first thought when Jasmine told me about it was, oh, we can do this and we can do that and we can do the other. But, we have only got till the end of August to put the application in, and we have only got till the end of March to do the work. So I think it's very sensible to just focus it on one small area for this year. But I would like to think year on year, we could, I mean, obviously we've only got 2,500 for Castle Woods paths, and that's not going to get as far. So it would be great if maybe next year we could look at really doing a lot of work to get all those paths really up to standard. And, if there is any problem, because of the ash dieback and the trees they're having to clear, next year we could look at, reforesting or whatever you do with woods in Castle Woods, and introducing some new trees. And the other area that I think, again, if this is year on year, is Underhill Woods, which again has had quite a bit of work done on it a long time ago, and it could just benefit from really getting those paths back up to standard and, you know, getting more people enjoying it. Ed?
I don't know if you're getting the same screen as me, but it looks like I've blended into Steve's background.
Oh, no, you look perfectly normal to us.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
From where I am, my T-shirt is right behind Steve.
Oh.
I wouldn't say it looks normal, but, you know, looks all right.
Anyway.
Very odd. Anyway, don't worry, we can see you, Ed. So yes, so is everybody happy that Jasmine proceeds with that? Because I think it is a great area to start with, because it has been an area that's been much neglected, and it's an area
terribly.
that people would be
It's been
happy.
embarrassing because people have complained to me, and I've said, well, I'll try and do something. And the council have cut a few branches back, but they said, no, it's bigger than that. It's the woods are eroding onto people's houses, or pushing onto people's houses too close for a firewall during heat waves. But on the other hand, it's grown too much the other side as well. But yeah, it would be lovely.
Anyway,
it'd be lovely.
sorry,
Thank
can I move you on? I think we're all happy then that we focus on Washing House Brook for this year.
Yeah.
And we try
Also, if anyone has any contact details of people they've worked with or seen us use before for any of those sort of plant management or sort of interpretation board type things, I'd love to have that forwarded to me to include in my application. I'm sure I can find people, but just if you know,
well,
you've all been working
for the interpretation boards, we've got the names of the people obviously who've done the orchard one and the ones on the prom, so that's good. And I can certainly, it's worth contacting Robin Bonham, because the people they use for the Kid Coed project, although that was like 10 years ago, they would kind of people who know the area well, so they may well be good to contact.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Right. As I say, we've got quite a short space of time, but just quickly, sorry, it's Jasmine again. With the our monthly environmental events, which this obviously links in with the Plastic Free Mumbles work as well. So do you want to just quickly say what your ideas are and how we can help you?
Absolutely. So we have 4 types of event that I'm going to start in August. And each of them I'm suggesting as an approximately monthly event. And so the first type is to do every month following the climate emergency meeting, to do a climate progress meeting where we have one speaker come and talk to us, and then also just have people to meet to discuss what we've done in this last month, to discuss what's upcoming with events and with projects currently, to sort of see how everyone's doing with the climate pledges and that type of thing. And just sort of hold ourselves accountable, as well as sort of have it as an open space for people to come and share their ideas. So that's a climate progress event monthly. And then also we've agreed that a in-person Plastic Free Mumbles event monthly could also work, though we're just reviewing if we might want to do it bi-monthly instead, considering we also have the subcommittee now. But yeah, so this would be sort of like an information event where sort of people can come and meet our volunteers, and then it's also a planning event where we discuss what we'd like to do for Plastic Free Mumbles over the next month, that sort of thing.
Great.
And then I want to start a local group spotlight meeting once a month, which is inviting a local environmental or wildlife group that already meets to come to the Ostream or whichever location we pick, talk about their organization, what they've got going on currently, and sort of how people can get involved. Because I think that would be really nice, and it would just set up collaboration links between all the different groups. I know there's the RSPB group, the Amphibian and Reptile group, the Wildlife Trust. There's loads of them which do excellent events. So it'd be lovely to invite different groups. And then finally, just sort of approximately once a month, I was going to set up some classes that mostly I would teach, but also other people can teach, just as sort of for different age groups. So like some sort of animal identification classes, or some sort of we were talking at one point about, you know, getting someone in to do sort of food foraging kind of class.
Oh, yeah.
And like I really want to do one in August where I do like a bat identification and then bat walk around Castle Acre, because I thought that could be fun and sort of interactive. Yeah. So they're the events, that's the ideas for them. And if anyone has ideas for the classes in particular, or any local groups to talk to, or any speakers for the climate progress things, just get in contact. I'd love to hear about it. And I'm sure we can fit all of everyone's ideas in the future. Sarah?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. Will you be recording them? They will be recorded, I take it.
Yeah, so the majority should be recorded. I'm asking each individual speaker sort of their permission beforehand, just to be sure. And everyone said yes so far, but I know some people might be a bit sort of shy about it.
I was just thinking, if it was like a 10 minutes and you kept it exciting or whatever, we could sell it to the schools as part of projects and things, and then you could follow up by going into the schools and doing stuff another day, and the children could follow on. I know it's all about the kids and me, but there we go. I just think it's a brilliant idea, and I think just get it out there. Thanks.
Yeah, all sounds good. You're welcome to do a bat walk in my garden, because I'm just above All Saints Church, and they all come out of the tower and actually fly between my house and the house next door into the woods behind.
Brilliant.
So
and I'm going to get
the right moment. They all just come flying overhead and off into the woods.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
I'm also going to get a back detector for it, so you can hear the little clicks as you walk through, because they're just brilliant, and they're so interactive for all ages.
Record them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're the events ideas.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Right, so really the main thing Jasmine wants from anyone is ideas. If you've got ideas for speakers or groups that you know would be really good for us to have along, then you know, if you can feed them all back to Jasmine, and we can, you know, build a really nice program over the year, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Okie doke.
Yeah, and then sorry, nothing, doesn't matter. Sorry.
You sure? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, brilliant. Right, and yeah, the next thing is we want to try and get a kind of regular volunteer sessions for our different sites, so that, you know, all our volunteers know every Tuesday or Thursday or Saturday, or maybe some weeks a Thursday and some weeks a Saturday, because some people can work and some, you know, need it to be a weekend. So that we get regular maintenance work and looking aftering work on the orchard, Jubilee Gardens, and the Smug site.
Yeah. So I've talked with Neil with the orchard things, and we're trying to set up a meeting to just discuss exactly what days would sort of work with him and his existing volunteers, and I'm going to contact some of the ones that Maddie has a list for as well, to sort of confirm that. But we're thinking of potentially doing a first one for that on the 13th of August.
Great.
Which is a Friday. And then I was thinking of suggesting Saturdays for Jubilee Gardens days. Sundays, probably sort of like midday Sundays for Smug site ones. And then also some Wednesdays for Smug site ones, sort of, so then we have the option of the midweek or the weekend. Yeah, and then and then the orchard, I'm just working out the other dates first. So yeah, I have a calendar with all of the dates.
Oh, well done.
I can get it all posted up.
Lovely.
But yeah, we've worked that out, and it's all of those will start sort of after, sort of from the 13th of August onwards, which is relatively soon, but also gives us some Smugs planning time to set exactly what we want done. and also gives us the family fun days sort of to be
Yes.
completed.
Get them,
And
yes. Get them out
and
of
then
the way,
continue.
yes.
Yeah. So I
that's
didn't want
great.
everyone to be sort of too tired out, but
Yeah.
I think that should work. And then, yeah, we'll see how those days work for over the summer, and then work out if we're going to continue them or adapt them slightly when school term starts again. But
Brilliant. Yeah, because I know that Oystermouth School certainly are really, really keen to be able to
They
get
are,
down
yeah.
there. So, you know, if we could have like a, you know, Wednesday afternoon, whatever, that would be brilliant, because they really want to get down there. Have you contacted Witch Hazel from the Orchard Project?
I think I have contacted, but I think we just got to a sort of, when are you available to meet, and then didn't quite work out a date. So I'll contact again. Because obviously they're really helpful about you know, anything to do with the orchard, and also on the orchard. I don't know if Tyvion's been in touch with you. Not yet. Right. Anyway, he is going to contact you. He's got your email address about various things. He's got quite a variety, but one of them was about the orchard in Klein Gardens. Oh, great. He's got an apple man called Tom, who is going to do a kind of full survey of all the trees and you know, the state of them all, because like there's one that's looking a bit sorry for itself, and they just never, they seem to have blossom but no fruit. Oh, right. Yeah, very odd. So so anyway, he will, because that orchard officially belongs to MCC. You know, he wants you to be involved in anything and having a look and maybe replacing some of the trees, or you know, doing something different with that area. So Tyvion will also be at some point, he'll contact you probably when his friend Tom has done his sort of survey of the state of all the different trees. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, that sounds great. Sarah.
Yeah, talking of Tyvion, supposedly he's been doing a lot of research for education for the children. He's really taken on the Mumbles in Bloom, Wells in Bloom stuff, and we know how brilliant he is. It would be great if we could talk him into doing a little film for the kids about what he's doing in Klein Gardens to put up, and maybe go through the schools. I don't know, but it'd be good if we had something, because it's lovely to see what's behind his thinking on the new beds and what he's planting. It would be great educationally for that. And I think your visitors have come, by the way. They have. Barking in the background.
Yes, my granddaughter is probably about to come bursting through the door.
But that sounds like a good idea, Sarah. I'll make a note of it and look into if that would work. But I think it could be nice to do like a little sort of video. It sounds like he's really researched all sorts of the different gardening things that goes into making Klein a really good and accessible space for everyone. So
and it becomes almost something that's archivable, really, because he's part of the history of Klein, really, as ongoing. So it'd be good to put it in the archive as well. Changing faces of Klein.
Okay, so that's great. So so once you've got, you know, that photo, say we can get that, and again we can share it, and just make sure that, you know, all our volunteers have got all the details, and then hopefully, I mean, I'd like to see it sort of evolve into, we have some volunteers who are really interested in the orchard and some who are particularly interested in smug. So we start building like little groups who kind of, you know each other and work together, and, you know, and then can just come down at other times, you know, and just get on with doing little bits and pieces around. So that's good. Okay, right. Right, e-cargo bike. This is all very exciting, and so someone else is talking for a change. Ed, do you want to give us a quick rundown of our meeting this afternoon with Sustrans?
Yes, we met with Emily Sinclair of Sustrans, and they've got a project to provide cargo bikes for organisations to try them out, all businesses, and they've offered us 2 bikes. They got various different formats of lending them. They can either have them for 30 days or 60 days, or there's other options as well. And what they've the experience they've had, one in particular is a butcher that's taken on the bike and the management of it and the running of it, and they do their own delivering. We didn't quite see that as a potential yet, but we're looking to involve several businesses, including hopefully Boots, the Co-op, and several others. Because as Steve was saying, there's a survey showing out of 100 businesses contacted, 33 have come back with a positive response. So we think we're pushing at an open door. We're looking at what the same way we were previously, to get someone like an intern from the university to do a startup with an idea that somebody, possibly the intern or somebody else, could run a business from it. Which could be shared over the day, to have shifts to come in and do morning work and evening work, such as takeaway deliveries and things like that. And she was really pleased because we were so positive and we'd given so much thought to it, and she was enthused herself. So it looks like that we'll have a no cost opportunity to trial a bike. We can advertise on it so businesses can see the potential, and we'll start breaking down the barriers then that exist in people's minds. They can't quite see a cargo bike system working until it's on the ground, on the rubber, on the tarmac. And it's a fantastic opportunity for us. So it's plenty to do, businesses to contact, but it looks like and storage and things like that. But it looks like a really positive step forward for us.
Brilliant. Yes, Jasmine.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. I was just thinking with the university and potentially involving people from the university, they have the sort of like young enterprise applications with the university every year, where it's like you can put together a business plan and then you put it into the university, and then they fund a certain number of them towards sort of helping them get started on their business idea. So we could potentially offer it as one that someone could put an application in for, and then the university might also give them some help in sort of helping them up.
Yeah.
I think it's like sort of £200 grants or something, but it could be really nice collaborative thing. So I can look up sort of when that opens and what the sort of things are with that. But I think that could be a really nice way. I can contact the student union and mention that we have this as a potential option for the young enterprise entries, and then see if we can advertise it and if anyone's interested. But I think that would be sort of a path we could do it to work with the university students on that.
Excellent. So so hopefully we're going to obviously put a bit more meat on the bones. We've got the feedback that Steve's got from the survey. Obviously we've now got some information from Emily. She sent us through today about the different bikes and the options. So what we thought was, if we put together a proper proposal that we can bring to this meeting in September, and then that fitted in with their time scale. They were happy with that, to hopefully then put it to full council on the 14th of September to actually go ahead and set up this pilot.
Okay.
Okay.
I have to leave now. My builder's here.
Oh, right. All right, brilliant. Well, thanks for that, Ed.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Okay, right. We have one more item. Steve, how urgent is it, or can we monitor the budget in September?
What I was going to suggest, Chair, is we send it out with the minutes once it's RFO approved, and then discuss any outstanding issues from it at the next meeting.
That sounds extremely sensible. Okay, well, items for JEC social media and website, I think we've probably covered that, haven't we? We've got lots of things that we're going to be putting out on the website and on social media and posters and all sorts. So unless there's anything we have missed that anyone wants us to put out. Nope, brilliant. Okay, well, thanks ever so much. And I shall now go and see my family who have just arrived. Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Okay, bye.
Bye.